This month of the How's All That Workin' For You podcast is sponsored by J. Brooks Coffee Roasters in Memphis, Tennessee. Urban Joe is the house favorite at J. Brooks for cold brew coffee. The legendary flavor of Urban Joe will ignite your taste buds with captivating shades of cocoa and cream. With a pleasantly balanced, bold body, the dark roast lover will fall head over heels for this roast. Cold brew is very quick and simple to make. It contains 2/3 less acids than hot brew coffee, so it's a perfect choice for anyone who has reflux or needs a stomach-friendly option for coffee. And if you make cold brew at home, you can make both cold and hot coffee with your solution. Everyone loves an adventure story. Make your day an epic adventure with a steaming cup or cold brew of Urban Joe. To order this signature blend for yourself and learn more about J. Brooks Coffee, click the link in the show notes or visit jbrookscoffeeroasters.com. That's the letter J, brookscoffeeroasters.com. You are officially invited to create some breathing room. This is the absolute best podcast to find the strategies, resources, and motivation you need to stop drowning in overwhelm, break free from hustle culture, and live out your God-given purpose. I'm your host, Rachel Baker, and girl, I've been there, done that. It is my God-given purpose to help you find space for an intentional life so you can confidently live in those strengths, skills, and passions that light you up and serve others. I know you are ready to create some breathing room, so let's do it together. Welcome to episode 25 of Create Some Breathing Room. We are starting a new season, a new series. This time we are talking about identity, which can kind of sound like a heavy topic to be getting into, but I promise we're going to break it down. And each week I want to come at this idea of identity from a different perspective, a different aspect. So for this week's topic, I really want to focus in on this idea of self-awareness and how important it is to know yourself, to take the time, right? We talk about creating breathing room. Part of that process of having breathing room is to spend some time with yourself to figure out who you are and what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. There's a lot to this idea of self-awareness. And today I specifically want to focus in on this idea of personality tests. It's a hot topic. It's something that's been around for years and years. And I especially want to look at the Enneagram. So if you have mixed feelings about the Enneagram, don't give up on me yet. I promise there's a lot of good content for you here today, good resources. So stick with me. This is something I love talking about. I've always loved personality tests. I think they're fun. Do you remember those magazines that we got as teenagers or even as kids? And they had the quizzes in them. Do you remember those? You know, back in like the 1900s, as my kids would say. And on the cover, it would say like, are you a flirt? Or do you talk too much? Or even just like, what's your style? Right? For me, those were the reason to buy the magazine. I wanted to take the quiz. I wanted to know, what is my style? Do I talk too much? The answer is probably yes. Am I a flirt? Those were just so fun to me. And I remember sitting with my friends and we'd all go through together and take them and see what our different answers were. I feel the same way now about these different personality tests that you can do. And I think the popularity of those BuzzFeed quizzes, that's a pretty good indicator that there are still a lot of people who are interested in learning more about themselves. And there are quite a few of these, and maybe you've taken some of them. There's the Myers-Briggs test, right? You'll hear people rattle off their 4 letters. You know, I'm an IFSJ, okay? The DISC is one, especially in the workplace, that's used. I'm an I, all day long influencer. There's just, are you an introvert or an extrovert, right? And for the longest time, I thought, and a lot of people thought, I was an extrovert. Just kidding. I'm a social introvert. I will hang out with people and love it, and then go crawl in a hole for 3 days to recover. So knowing that about myself allows me to better manage my time and energy. A couple others that I really like, the high five strengths is one that I've done recently. That one's really cool. I love the results you get back from that. And then the one we're going to talk about today, the Enneagram. So I want to give just a quick overview in case you are not familiar with the Enneagram, what it is, or if you've got is it okay for Christians to talk about the Enneagram? We're going to talk about that, right? And I've got a resource for you. I'm going to mention some resources at the end, so stick with me. And then I'm going to go very quickly through the 9 types, very quickly, an overview. We're not going to dive deep today. And I want you to know how an assessment like this or how this information can help you with self-awareness, with identity, and improving relationships with others. So that's where we're headed. Let's dive right into the Enneagram. So just overall, what is it? What is the Enneagram? So the word itself is Greek for 9 points. Okay. So it's an ancient personality typing system, and it teaches there are 9 basic personality styles in the world. And these 9 types are based on motivation more than behavior. You might notice a lot of the personality types and tests, the things that you can do, talk about how you behave, how you act. This is based on motivations. And each type has an unconscious motivation that influences how they act. So it's not just your behavior. The focus is on your core desires, your core fears. And so it's a lot more of who you are at your core than just the way you act. And the biggest question I get when this topic comes up is it okay for Christians to talk about this? The symbol itself, if you look at it, people, is that a pagan symbol? Listen, yes, it's okay for Christians to talk about this. That's my 2 cents on it. And I do have a resource for you. I'm going to put it in the show notes, and we're going to talk about it at the end of the episode. And it specifically provides a biblical roadmap. And the goal is to guide you back to God and your identity in Christ by using this tool. So if that is something you've not heard before, something you're interested in, stick with me because it is one of my favorite resources on this topic. I want to break down the 9 types. There are 9 personality types, for lack of a better word, in the Enneagram. There's a whole deep dive you can do in this. There are wings of each type and subtypes, and we're not going into all that today. I want you to just hear the basics. We'll start with 1, we'll end with 9. See if one of these resonates really strongly with you. And if so, I would love to hear about it. If you leave a review, comment in the Facebook group, I want to hear about it. So 1s, if you are an Enneagram 1, this type is known as the approver or the perfectionist. We don't love the perfectionist title, but that is what they're known for. They're very ethical, meticulous, detail-oriented. Their way of seeing the world is they see what's wrong, and then they think it's their responsibility to fix it. They have a very strong internal critic voice that they are constantly battling. Now, you'll hear bits of yourself probably in all of these, but if one of those is yup, that might be your number. So those are the 1s, approvers, perfectionists. The 2s are known as the helper, and they are warm, caring, giving. They're highly motivated by this need to be liked and needed. And typically, 2s want to avoid acknowledging their own needs. It becomes very frustrating when they're really tired, when they're worn out. They don't have anything left to give to others. That's really frustrating because they're not sure of what their own value is anymore or their own worth without the ability to help others. That's kind of that core need to be needed. You know that song, I want you to want me, I need you to need me. You know what I'm talking about? I think that would be the 2's theme song. And I can say that because your girl here is a 2, a very strong, solid 2. And when you first hear about the helper who's warm and caring, those are great qualities, and I'm proud and thankful to have them. But yes, we also do tend to ignore our own needs and wants, and feel that our worth is directly correlated to how much we are able to help others. And if we can't help others, are we even needed anymore? Do they even want to be my friend? It's ridiculous. So there's a little bit of that in every type. It sounds like a good quality. Also, it can be a weakness. So for threes are the performer or the achiever. They're very success-oriented, driven by productivity. They want to excel, but they're also very adaptive and image conscious, which is kind of where that performer comes in. They can be known as the social chameleon. So these are people, they want to get it done, take care of business, make it happen, keep climbing higher up the ladder. And if I'm not achieving, what is my value? So again, a good side and kind of a rough side. For fours are known as the romantic or the individualist. And these people can be very creative, sensitive, emotional, dramatic, very imaginative, but they're really motivated by a need to be unique. They like those deep conversations. So to me, this sometimes sounds like teenagers, but but these people are such creative souls. There are a lot of artists, a lot of writers that fall within this number. And then we've got fives. Fives are known as the investigators. Okay, they're very cerebral, very independent, analytical. They are great at gathering information. They're very perceptive, but also a little detached and private. They have very limited amounts of energy and can be kind of afraid. They have a scarcity mindset around that energy. If I spend too much time with people, will I run out? And so they would rather be behind the scenes gathering information, learning, than spending a lot of time with a lot of people. All right, the six. Sixes are the loyalist. And these are the people who are committed. They are going to be there no matter what. Very practical, also security oriented. They can be kind of anxious, maybe suspicious. They're really concerned about the common good. These are often people who are behind the scenes doing things that other people don't want to do. They are typically kind of the worst case scenario thinkers. They like to be prepared. So these are the people, if they are packing for a trip, if you need it, they've got it, right? The whole first aid kit, any type of weather, they've got clothes for it. They're ready for everything. And they are by your side, ready to help, regardless of what you need. That's the six, the loyalist. All right, we got three more. Sevens, this is the enthusiast. This is the fun, spontaneous, adventurous person. They really want to avoid unpleasant feelings and thoughts and situations at all costs. No, thank you very much. We want to have fun. They are really motivated by that need to be happy. They can also sometimes, it can feel a little scattered, a little distracted, but overall the focus is pleasant feelings, enjoyable times, don't drag me down, please. And then the eights. 8 is the challenger. These people are powerful. They come across as maybe dominating and commanding, very self-confident, decisive, maybe a little willful and confrontational. They need to assert strength and power, but it's because they want to hide vulnerable feelings from others and themselves. It is very difficult often for women who are 8s because they've got these same leadership skills as the men who are 8s, but they're not valued as much, which is very frustrating. But also you will see 8s pop up defending the vulnerable. They are taking care of those who can't take care of themselves. And so that's a really beautiful quality that I see in the 8s that I know in my life. And then the last group is 9. The 9 is the peacemaker. Very pleasant, laid back, accommodating, kind of go with the flow. They're very receptive, very reassuring and agreeable. So 9s usually can see both sides of something. So they're really great mediators, except they hate conflict. They really need to keep that internal and external sense of peace. And in that, they tend to kind of merge with other people and lose themselves in the process. So again, great qualities, and also, that's kind of difficult. Hey, it's Rachel, your go-to encourager and coach. I know you love our podcast talks, but imagine taking that connection to the next level in person. I'm more than a clarity coach. I'm someone who's been in the trenches, juggling all the things. I get it. I've danced with chaos, overloaded schedules, and the struggle to prioritize self-care. But I found the rhythm. And I've got the strategies to help your ladies create some breathing room. So if you're organizing an event, whether it's a conference, church gathering, or retreat, and you want a speaker who brings humor, real talk, and a dose of inspiration, I'm your girl. Let's chat about making your event a memorable one. Visit racheldbaker.com/speaking. That's racheldbaker.com/speaking. I can't wait to connect. It helps to know these different types, to know it about yourself, and to know it about others in your life. It's good for self-awareness, it's good for identity, and it also is going to improve relationships. For me personally, as I studied this, as I read more about it, and really got honest with myself, I discovered I am a 2. I do have a very strong 3 wing. So knowing what that means for me, what are the good things and what are my areas of weakness? This understanding has helped me grow as a person and how I connect with other people and how I allow breathing room for myself, knowing that I'm very prone to overextend and help other people to my own detriment. Lets me know boundaries matter and are important. I don't have to achieve 24/7 and hustle. I also need rest. So the other side of this is when I know and understand other people's numbers, when I know that my friend is a 5, a very strong 5, and I love her. I love the perspective she brings and the information that she has, but that also allows for grace and understanding and communication with her when she needs to chill at home because she had a long morning with kids at the doctor's office and she's done. She's just done with people. She needs a break. My feelings aren't hurt that she doesn't then want to go get coffee because I know she's got to recover before she can get back out and be with people. Little things like that allow us to extend more grace and understanding and compassion with the people in our lives. So I want to wrap it all up, bring us to a close. I know this was a lot of information, but I hope it's been helpful and maybe a little enlightening. The Enneagram, it's not the end-all be-all when it comes to gaining your self-awareness, becoming more confident in your identity, but it is a great tool to learn more about yourself and identify those behaviors that are healthy and behaviors that maybe are unhealthy. And it helps you grow in understanding and compassion towards others. There are a ton of resources out there if you want to learn more about the Enneagram, or if you want to figure out which number best describes you. I do not recommend Enneagram tests. I know they're fun, and we talked at the beginning about doing quizzes and tests. It's a fun thing, but I would not depend on that to definitely identify your type. So a couple of my favorite resources, both are books, of course, you know, it's going to be books. The first one is called The Road Back to You, and the subtitle is An Enneagram Journey to Self-Discovery. The authors are Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile, and they are both high level in Enneagram study. They're the experts in this field, I would say. And then the other one, I told you earlier, I have a resource for you in the Christian sphere. And this one is called The Journey Home. And the subtitle is A Biblical Guide to Using the Enneagram to Deepen Your Faith and Relationships. And this one is by Meredith Boggs. I love this book. I love that she speaks into this space with a Christian mindset and the goal of getting more confident in your identity in Christ. It's so good. Please get it. Both of these are linked in the show notes for you. I really could talk about this stuff all day long, but I would love to hear from you. Do you already know your Enneagram number? Or maybe you took one of those quick online quizzes, but now you're not so sure it was right after listening to all of this. This is the kind of stuff we love to share about in our Create Some Breathing Room podcast community. It's over on Facebook. You can just click the link in the show notes to join us over there, or go search on Facebook. It's the Create Some Breathing Room podcast community. And I would love to connect with you there. Thanks so much for listening today. Be sure to check the show notes to get links for all the resources mentioned in this episode. As always, your reviews make such a difference, so thank you for taking the time to leave those for us. Your ratings and thoughts mean so much. I love reading each and every one. As we wrap up today, please remember, life can feel crazy and overwhelming sometimes, but you will never regret taking the time to create some breathing room.